In this sequence, there is a sound associated with each of the chakras, so they are the energetic points running along the spine. And in a very traditional practice, I'm not a great chanter, but you would just make a reference to each chakra. So the very first one at the base of the spine is called lum, and people do chant. They say lum, 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 and the resonance of lum is supposed to resonate with the base of the spine. So lum. And then we're going to start the practice by lying down, knees bent, feet hip width apart. And I'm noting a back issue here, so that should be good. This should be good for that. Just rest your hands on your abdomen and just come to connect with the breath. There's nothing for you to do, just to connect with the abdomen as it slightly rises on the inhalation. And as you breathe out, the abdomen just slightly moves away from your hands. And just very gently, slightly turn your head to the left. As you breathe in, bring your head back to the center. And breathing out, turn your head slightly to the right. Come back to the center. Head goes to the left. Come to the center. And head goes to the right. Come to the center. And one more time in your own breath. When your head comes to the center, keep your right leg where it is and hug your left knee in towards your chest. This should be quite helpful for the back. And holding the left knee into your chest, just gently let the left knee circle a few times in one direction. So your hands hold your left knee. And you just let your left knee circle. And you'll feel this action reflect in the top of the hip, the thigh bone as it moves in the hip socket. And then just very gently circle the leg in the other direction. Hugging the left knee into the chest, let your hands drop to underneath your left thigh. You can clasp the hands together and just very gently extend the left leg. You can keep a bend in the knee up to the ceiling and extend the left heel and point the left toes a couple of times, feeling the stretch along the back of the left leg. And then very gently begin to walk your hands up the back of the left leg. We're not going to go very far, or just let your hands stop where they naturally stop. That might be somewhere along your calf. And then just with your fingers, trace, or almost with your fingers, massage the back of your calf. And then bend your left knee back into the chest. Open your left knee to the left and place your left ankle on top of your right thigh. placing your hands either on your abdomen or hands palms down on the floor. And just very gently sway your knees from side to side. The knees will go one way and the hip will lift as well, so it's an intuitive movement. Both knees go the same way and the hip will lift off the ground slightly. And you can begin to bring the neck into this movement. As your knees go to one direction, your head can either go towards the direction of the knees or away from it. And again, you might find that this is a very intuitive movement. The head almost rolls from side to side as your knees move as well. And then come to the centre with your knees. Uncross your left ankle from your right and place your left foot on the floor. Just gently sway both knees from side to side. And here you can really lift your hips off the ground so that you're just twisting slightly. And then bring your knees to the centre. And make any adjustments with your knees or feet that you'd like to, but keeping your left foot broadly where it is. Hug your right knee in towards you. This is a version or a variation of Apanasana, and Apana is moving one of the 5 energies, the foundational energy, linking with the lower chakras. We talked about lung. And just very gently begin to circle your right knee while you're holding it in one direction. And then very gently circle your right knee in the other direction. And then hugging your right knee into the chest, open your right knee out to the right and place your right ankle on top of your left leg. So this movement, this figure of 4 or upside down pigeon, which opens the hip, is moving into the next chakra, which is the sacral chakra. And the sound for that is bum, bum, bum. And then very gently either placing your palms down on the floor beside you or keeping your hands palms down on your abdomen, just begin to sway your knees from side to side. Your hip will lift, your hips will lift slightly as you go from one side to the other. And you can bring your head into the movement, moving your head gently. It doesn't matter whether your head moves towards the knees or away from the knees. Coming to the centre, hug the right knee into the chest and then drop your hands behind the right thigh, clasping if you need to, and extend your right leg to the ceiling. You can keep a bend in your knee, extend your right heel and point your toes, and extend your heel and point your toes. And then you can circle your right ankle a couple of times in one direction, and then circle your ankle a couple of times in the other direction. Hug your right knee into your chest. Place your right foot on the floor and extend your legs out along the mat. Breathing in, extend your right heel and raise your right arm up above you and behind you. You can keep your elbow bent. Back of your hand connects to the floor. Breathing out, turn your head to the left, away from your extended right arm. And stay here as you breathe in and out. When you're ready, bring your head back to the centre and breathing out, lower your right arm and relax your right arm and your right leg. And extend your left heel. Bending your left arm, raise your left arm above the head, stretching along the left side. And then breathing out, turn your head to the right. And stay here for an in and an out breath. Breathing in, come back to the centre. And breathing out, lower your left arm down alongside you. Just relax as you turn your head to the left. And then come back to the centre with your head and breathing out, turn your head to the right. Come back to the centre with your head, moving it to the left. And breathing out, turning as you move to the right. Come back to the centre. Bend one knee and bend the other knee so that both knees are up to the ceiling and your feet are hip width apart. Just slightly move one knee away from you and then relax that knee, and then move the other knee slightly a few millimetres away from you. You might find that your knee drops to the midline, and then just release and relax. Move the original knee slightly a few millimetres forward. You can come off your hips, and the knee might drop to the centre. Come back to neutral and central, and then extend the other knee slightly. It might drop to the midline. And then just come back to the centre. Just once more, just sway both knees from side to side. And you might like here to take your feet slightly wider than hip width apart. It's optional. It allows you to drop your knee more to the midline. Your hips are lifting off the ground. And then bending your elbows, raise your elbows above your head, either holding the wrists or forearms, somewhere that's comfortable, and continue to sway your knees from side to side as your arms, underneath your arms are slightly stretched above you. And then come to the centre with your knees and stretch your legs out along the mat. Cross your right leg over the left and just feel the stretch as you just slightly move your arms to one side, to the left, and then to the right. Just see which stretch you prefer, and then come back to the centre. Uncross your legs and cross your left ankle over your right. You can optionally choose to change the crossover of your arms, which throws me into a muddle. And then again, just stretch slightly to one side, come to the centre, and just very gently stretch to the other side. Come to the centre. Uncross your legs and then lower your arms back down along beside you. And circle your ankles in one direction and circle your ankles in the other direction. Before we come to leave this lying posture, I'm going to invite you to hug one knee and then the other knee into the chest. So this should feel very lovely for a sore back. And just very gently rock from side to side, holding your knees into your chest. You can rock enough that you come onto your elbows, or you can rock a little bit that you're only just slightly going from side to side, and your hips will come off the ground. And then come to the centre and hug the knees into the chest. Still holding the knees, let them move away from you to arm's length. Hug the knees into the chest. And then just let them travel away from you to arm's length. Hug the knees into the chest. And let the knees travel away from you to arm's length. And do this a couple of times in your own breath pattern. So this really should be absolutely releasing for a lower back. You're massaging along the lumbar vertebra. And then come to the centre. And we're going to come to a seated position, so you can take your time to roll to the side. And then taking your time to press your hand down and come up to a seated position. So I'm going to sit cross-legged, but if that doesn't work for you, you can have your legs out. It just depends, we've all got our preferences. And then very gently hold your knees below your knees, breathing in, sitting up, breathing out round your back, chin comes to the chest. Breathing in, sitting up, and breathing out round, chin comes to chest. Again, breathing in, lengthening the body, breathing out, chin to chest. So repeat a few more times. We're beginning to warm the spine up, but equally we're beginning to move all the organs as well, as we're giving the body and spine a complete and gentle movement. I wouldn't say workout because it is so gentle, but it's just a subtle movement. Should feel nice, feel stiff or sore in any way. And then come to the centre. Just let your fingers slide to the left along the mat. Raise your right arm bent at the elbow and just slide over to the left. Chin in. You can keep your elbow bent, or if you feel particularly that you'd like a stretch, just stretch out along the side. Tummy or lower abdomen in as you press your left hand. Come up to the centre and breathing out, lower your right hand. Just let your right fingers slide out to the right as you bend your left elbow. Chin into the chest. You can just look forward if you want to. You can look up, but that's more effort for the neck. You can slide your fingers, your right finger out as much as you like, and even come onto your right elbow. Tummy in, press down with your right hand as you come upright. And then just walk your fingers slightly forward. You'll feel this in the outer hips. If they're stiff at all. Have a sense of lengthening along your back from the tailbone to the top of the head. And then walk your fingers back. And just have your hands either side of you. Classically yoga, you'd have your fingers pointing forward, but this is very gentle, so I don't mind. Just the aim is to lift the chest, slightly lift your chin, slightly lift your eyes, and the action of lifting the chest is literally stretching all the organs, giving space for the organs at the front, but it's also uplifting for the mood. And then come back to the centre and open your arms to the side. Remember which arm comes in front as you give yourself a hug. Come forward with your chin to your chest and just very gently sway from side to side. We're opening up the top of the back, the thoracic area. Breathing in, open your arms out again. And if you remember which arm was on top, lovely, but don't worry if you don't. Give yourself a hug the other way, just coming forward. Come back. With your eyes, your head still, your eyes just look up to a 12 o'clock, your imaginary 12. They come through the centre of your imaginary clock and drop to 6 o'clock. Come back up to the centre of the clock. They go to 3 o'clock. Come back to the centre and they go to 9 o'clock. Come to the centre. Look at 10 past the hour, through the centre, and 20 to the hour, to the centre, 10 to the hour, centre, and 20 past the hour, and centre. Just rub your hands, creating an energy. And then this is called palming, where you just place your hands over your closed eyes. There's a lot of magnetic electrical current in the hands. And just gently open your eyes into the darkness of your hands and just smooth your hands away. Connect your fingers to the ground and open your legs into a V. Soles of the feet up, and just rub your legs, pat them, bounce them. It's like dry skin brushing. Right down to your feet. And then just hands either side of you. Turn towards your left leg and walk your hands down your left shin. You stop when it feels good for you. Just relax over the left leg. If you can remember to keep the soles of your feet, the heels extended so that the toes are up towards the ceiling, you'll feel that engaging the inside of your legs. Just take an in and an out breath. And then tummy in, lower abdomen in, slightly towards the spine as you walk your hands up the left leg. Literally connecting the hands either side of your body, and then turn towards the right leg. And bending your elbows, just walk down. Forward bend. Calming for the nervous system. The chin coming slightly into the chest activates something in yoga called Jalandhara Bandha. A bandha is an energy hold. But more importantly than that, this chin to chest action activates the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve activated is anti-inflammatory. So I think probably for everyone that's probably quite a good thing, which is why a forward bend is calming to the nervous system. And then very gently walking your hands up your legs and come to supporting your legs, bending your knees and bringing the soles of the feet together. Baddha Konasana. Just hold your legs almost above the ankles, by the ankles, and sit up. And then just perhaps use your thumbs to massage the insides of your ankles. That connects to all kinds of bits inside us. That's not very well explained. There are lots of energy meridians just around this point, connecting through to the stomach. It's amazing when you start tracking the body meridians, where they all go to. So just massaging your thumbs around the ankle joint. And then just perhaps dropping the thumbs to the soles of the feet. You'll come forward a little bit more. You can slide your feet out away from you a bit more. And if Sue were here, she would say that just under the big toe, like the centre, the solar plexus of your foot, is the vitality energy of the foot. It relates to the kidney energy, which it relates to our general vitality. So just pressing, sometimes that area, it's just big toe joint inside, and just at the centre of the foot really, that solar plexus area. Just massaging, circling your thumbs in one direction. If you wanted to be very Ayurvedic about it, you circle your thumbs anti-clockwise first to get rid of the negative energy, and clockwise afterwards to reinstate positive energy. But really, don't worry about that, just do whatever feels good for you. And then sliding the hands gently up the legs, bringing the knees together, and we're going to come to kneeling on hands and knees, tabletop position. And hands are shoulder height, shoulder width apart, and knees are hip width apart. And breathing in, dipping the back. Perhaps keep looking along the mat this time, just keep everything very low energy. And breathing out round the back, the chin comes to the chest. Again, a couple of times, dipping the back, either looking along the mat, you can look up, it's a more classic movement, but again, you're moving your neck, so choose what feels good, rounding. And again, dipping the back. And rounding. Come to neutral. Just slide your right leg back. Your right leg is lifting off the mat, and tuck your right toes underneath. And just move backwards and forwards. So you're just distributing the energy over the tops of the feet. Where the toes connect to the feet is where the lung meridians in Chinese medicine connect. So you're opening your lung meridians, boosting circulation. And then bend your right knee back to the ground. Do exactly the same on the left side. Tucking your left toes under as you slide your left leg back. And just rock just very gently backwards and forwards. And then just bring your knees back. And keep your bottom high as you come to your elbows, so it's puppy pose. You can make fists with your hands to rest your head on your hands if you don't like coming down too far. Sometimes it's too much for the head. Or if that doesn't bother you, you can bring your forehead to the ground and just have your bottom up. You're stretching along the thoracic area of the back. And of course you can adjust moving your hands forward. You can bring your elbows back, as I said, to make fists with your hands, or rest your forehead on the backs of the hands. Again, this is a forward bend. It's very soothing to the nervous system, calming, quietening. And then very gently bring your bottom to slide it back. Bring your hands towards your knees. And then tucking your toes. We're going to come gently to standing. But take your time to perhaps walk your feet to your hands to your feet, your knees are bent, and just really taking your time to roll up vertebra by vertebra. Your head is the last thing to lift, and you can use your hands to trace your ascent as you come up, supporting you, and come to standing. So we've gone through the basic chakras, and any kind of twisting is ram. So with our legs out, when we went from side to side, that was twisting. But let's just twist again from side to side. Another ram that connects to the digestive energy. And it connects to the fire element. Generally, fire connected to digestion. But this turning, circling movement actually connects to all energies. When people have got bad backs, there are two movements that are particularly tricky. One is twisting, but this again is a very gentle rotation, because the back does need to move in a number of directions. And the other one is, funnily enough, a forward bend, because you can get over that by not being extreme, just a gentle forward bend, because it has so many other benefits, like for the nervous system. And then come to standstill and bend your elbows, clasp your hands behind the back of your neck. Just feel that your back of your neck's extended, that Jalandhara Bandha, and just again sway from side to side. You can lift your heels if you'd like to. Feel that you're stretching out the back of the neck. And then come to stillness, release your hands, lift and roll your shoulders. So for any irritation or annoyance, this very simple movement, I love, it's Kundalini. So bringing your hands up, I can hardly explain it, up and then back behind you, and then cross over, hug. Remember which hand's on top, back. Breathing in, hands up. Breathing out, hands down, slightly behind you. Then hands cross, the other palm, if you remember. Doesn't matter if you don't, back. So it's up, down, cross, up, down, cross. Up, down, cross, up, down, cross. It's very freeing for irritations, frustrations. You'll find this, as I said, in Kundalini yoga. It's almost hypnotic because it goes into the magnetic field as well. You can almost do it without thinking once you've got the pattern. And any time you want to get rid of low energy, annoyance, it works on the liver, is my understanding, which it connects into anger and energy and frustration. And then just swing your hands. And then breathing in. Breathe out, bring the fingers to the heart center. Then breathing in, circle the hands up. Touch your fingers in a dome. And then bring your fingers through the center, bending the knees and bending your elbows to slide your hands down to the mid part of your shins. Press your hands into your shins and lengthen along your spine, so it's a half lift. Breathe out, bend your knees and bend your elbows, curl in slightly. Breathing in, lengthen your legs, press your hands into the shins once more. Stay here as you breathe out. And breathing in, soften your knees, press into your feet, and use your hands optionally to slide up your legs to come back to standing. Circling your hands up, touching your fingers at the center, and breathing out, bring your hands back down to the center. Breathing in, circling your hands up, Come through the centre to the heart centre. Bend your knees, bend your elbows. Slide your hands down if you need to your shins. Press your hands into the shins, half lift. Breathing out, bend your knees. Bend your elbows, curl in. Breathe in, press your hands into your shins. Stay here as you breathe out. And breathing in, press your feet into the ground, rolling up vertebra by vertebra to standing. And breathing in, circle the hands up, touch the hands together, and lower the hands. Raise your right arm and circle both wrists in one direction. And then reverse that circle. And then lower your right arm. And then bring up your left arm. Circle the wrists in one direction. And then circle the wrists in the other direction. And lower the left arm. For this next one, feet hip width apart, very strange but strangely satisfying. So it's using all the joints and it's flying. So breathing, there's no instruction. Breathing in as you raise your arms up, bending your knees, adjust your feet however works for you. Adjust your elbows so that they're bent at the knees, bent at the elbows. You don't have to have your hands right out. So this very simple movement you'll find it in Qigong, as well as other Eastern traditions, and it's moving all the joints. So moving all the joints like this would have to be moving the lymph through the lymphatic system, which you need. You've got to move to have that happening. So it's boosting the immune system. And then just breathing out, bring your hands to, in this system, the dantian, so it's just below the navel. And take an in and an out breath. And connecting into the magnetic field, breathing in, raising the hands up, and then just sweeping your hands over the top of the head, breathing out, bringing the hands back down to dantian. So this is sweeping our magnetic field where we connect with the outside world. It can get very clogged, so this is a lovely clearing movement. It is found in Qigong, but you'll find this also in certainly yoga. I'm thinking of Kundalini yoga, where you're bending a little bit more. And then just again, last one is you lift up, hands over, just soothing everything away, the magnetic energy is broken. And then breathing in, turn your head to the left, and breathing out, turn your head to the right. Breathing in, turning your head to the left, and breathing out, turning your head to the right. Bring your head to the centre and bring your hands as if you were holding an imaginary ball. It doesn't matter which hand's on top. Whichever hand is on top, lead with the elbow of that top hand to turn to one side. Your heel can lift, and then turn your hands over, leading with the other elbow. So this subtle swaying from side to side is balancing the pelvis, slowing us down so it becomes a moving meditation again, coordinating breath with movement. But it also invites the coordination of the left-right brain or right-left brain hemispheres. It's a very fluid movement. If you go too fast, it can be not quite so restful, but this restful, peaceful swaying from side to side can start to rebalance, as I said, the brain communication. And also the side-to-side movement is balancing the thyroid and the parathyroid to some extent, and at the neck. And then slightly higher up, you've got the pineal and the pituitary gland. So there is an aspect of metabolic rebalance as well. We need time sometimes just to sort of restore. So then just come to the centre, drop the hands, and then carrying on with that metabolic rebalance, only lift the chin a little bit, slightly lift the chin up, slightly lift the chin down, slightly turn the chin to the left, and slightly turn the chin to the right. Come back to the centre. Breathing in, slightly lift the chin up. Breathing out, lower the chin to the chest. Turn to the left, and then turn to the right. Come back to the centre, and one last time, chin slightly up. That's pineal and pituitary, down. To the left is pineal, thyroid and parathyroid, to the right. Come to the centre. Lift and roll your shoulders. Lift and roll your shoulders again. And lift and roll your shoulders again. And just place your fingers below the shoulders. Your fingers just naturally go below your collarbone. And just very gently pat that K27 point. It's an energy revitalizer in energy medicine, but it connects into the meridians. And then just very gently lower your hands. Bring them once more to a dome in front of the heart, and we're going to come to lying with knees bent and feet hip width apart. So the salute to the sun, the half salutes to the sun, lifting up and coming down, the standing movements come connecting to the heart. So that's hum. And now we're coming to the throat, and the sound of the throat is om. So knees bent, feet hip width apart. Hands are palms down alongside you. And just start with a very gentle pelvic tilt. So just flattening the back as if you're going to lift your bottom, and then just releasing. And flattening your back as if you're going to lift your bottom, and then releasing. And just a couple of times rolling through the lower back. Feel free to adjust your feet at any point. And now, as you press your back into the ground, as if you're lifting your bottom, you can optionally actually lift your bottom a little bit or a lot. Raise your arms, bent at the elbows, up and behind you. Your chin will naturally come down to your chest. And as you breathe out, lower your back down to the ground again, vertebra by vertebra. You'll find that your arms will naturally follow. When your bottom's connected to the floor, hug one knee and then the other knee into the chest. And then extend both soles of the feet to the ceiling, palms together through the V that you create. You'll feel a slight pull on the core here. And then hug the knees into the chest again. And then just releasing and relaxing both feet down to the ground. And palms are back down on the floor. A couple of pelvic tilts just to keep your back moving. And then when you're ready, palms down, press your feet down, lift your bottom a little bit. Lift your elbows bent above your head, backs of the hands on the ground. And then breathing out, lower your bottom back down to the ground. Lower your arms. When your bottom has connected back to the ground, hug your knees into your chest, and then very gently extend the soles of the feet to the ceiling and palms of the hands together. If you extend your heels, you'll feel a stretch along the backs of the legs, and then hugging the knees into the chest, and just very gently rock from side to side. And then slide your hands down your shins to hold your ankles, which will mean that your knees go out to the side, just for a couple of breaths to feel the inner groin, the thighs, on the lymph system of the lower part of the body, connecting, being given space. And then very gently slide the hands up, hold the knees into the chest, and very gently let your feet connect to the ground again. Palms either resting on your abdomen or palms down. Just gently sway your knees from side to side. And then very gently roll onto your abdomen, taking your time, no sudden movement. If this is uncomfortable for anyone, then just leave this out. But if you're okay with that, you're going to come to being on your elbows, so it becomes a Sphinx pose. And just look down at the floor. And just wobble your bottom from side to side. Sacroiliac stabilizer. Tuck the right foot underneath your toes, tuck them underneath. Extend your right heel back, and your whole right leg will lift off the ground, and you're stretching out the right front of your hip bone, thigh, all that area. Release your leg to the ground, let the heel drop out to the side and wobble from side to side. And then tuck your left toes underneath, extend your left foot back, your whole leg lifts off the ground. Release your leg back to the ground, heel out to the side and belly jelly wobble from side to side. And then bring your elbows out to the side, and again you can make fists with your hands if you don't like to come down so much with your head, or you can go with your head onto the backs of your hands. Just to rest your head, you can turn your head to the side if you don't like looking down. Move your knees slightly apart, bend your legs so that the soles of the feet are to the ceiling, and just slightly sway the knees from side to side, the legs from side to side. It's very opening again at the lower back in a slightly different way. I'm not quite sure why, but it is very opening, very soothing. If you want to increase the sway, you can almost swing your legs from side to side like that. But again, whatever works for you is good. And then very gently lower your feet back down onto the ground. Bring your knees slightly in towards one another. And then sliding your hands back. Come to a child's pose, however that works. If you don't like pressing your hands down and coming up to kneeling, you can roll to the side and bend your knees up. But we're going to come, however works for you, to a child's pose. Big toes together in this variation, knees a little bit apart. You can either stretch your hands in front of you, or you can rest again, make fists, rest your hands on top of your hands, rest your head on top of your hands. You could use a bolster or classic child, whatever works for you, just for a couple of breaths. And then very gently move your hands towards you as we're going to come once more to a seated position. You can either have your legs out in front of you, or I'm going to sit in a cross-legged position. And we're going to finish with a moving meditation connecting to the heart. Bring the hands to the heart, solar plexus, the heart area, chin to the chest, anti-inflammation. Breathing in, just open the hands out. Breathing out, chin to chest, hands come back. Breathing in, just opening the hands out, connecting to the sense of touch and the element of air. Breathing out, hands to heart, and over the chin to the chest. Breathing in, hands out, breathing out. And just carry on in your own time, your own breath. And you can, while you're here, take a moment to have a thought for the day. It can be for yourself or someone close to you, wishing them well, whatever. And just mentally connect to that thought a couple of times, setting your intention for the day. And then very gently bring your hands back to your heart. Your chin goes to your chest. Taking a bow now for yourself. Have a very lovely day ahead. And thank you for joining me. Thank you.